every employee had a paper clip ration.
Wow.
That was mathematically determined by a complex formula of tenure plus your slot on the organizational chart. Pardon me, sir, but how do I know this is the real Big Bertha's bail bonds?
The reason why it was obvious that they were watching TV on their phones, despite the use of earbuds, was when they would yell out, "Oh no, he is not the father."
Oh my God. I ordered a new kind of pill. It's called Damn. And it makes you look like Dave Chappelle. Listen, just between us. Last time I billed myself, I had to send myself to collections.
This is the Snaggletooth Extreme Metal Podcast.
You know what we never talked about?
What?
The shot lady.
Shot lady.
The lady who was all shot up.
Oh, let's talk about that. Yeah.
So let's preface this. We still have to wear masks in our office. So of course, no one has masks.
Not me.
And all the patients who come in, of course, we have to give them masks. And this lady, if you guys don't know what a Baltimore Hun is, was a Baltimore Hun. Fine. And she donned her mask, but then kept screaming at me about how her and her husband were all shot up, which I thought was an odd way to put that their vaccinations were up to date.
That's Baltimore white trash for I'm up to date on all my vaccinations. I'm all shot up, hon. That's what that is. That's a new one.
Oh, the people I
Something
know.
else we didn't talk about. We didn't talk about the suffocation incantation show last week.
We did not.
Yes.
Which was definitely all shot up.
Yeah. Who was the first band? The local?
The first band was Stabbing.
Stabbing. They were good.
The great girl singer. She had a very unique style. I liked it.
She could go from, when she spoke, it sounded just like a female, but then she went right into the roar. Really well done. Yeah. So
that kicked it off in grand fashion.
It was a good warm up. And then our demonic friend John McEntee and Incantation came out.
First, Skeletal Remains.
Oh, I forgot.
Who were fabulous, by the way.
They sounded like Sepultura meets Deicide or something. They just were incredible. You know?
Yeah.
Skeletal was great. Yeah. Yeah.
This was, I think, indeed one of those shows where they just kept building. Although I don't know if I could pick a favorite between Incantation and Suffocation. They were both pretty equal as far as fabulousness.
Right. We're going to review the new Suffocation album later on the show. And it's the first album with the new singer, and he did great. He's so full of energy. You could tell the band's really energized.
Yeah.
But Incantation had all of the spooky remnants that Chuck kind of conjured for this album's lyrics, and
backdrop was great.
Backdrops were great.
Music was great. You could just feel it in your chest.
Yeah.
And if you go on our Instagram page,
I'll put it up on the screen. This is us with Uncle John McEntee. So we had a great time hanging out with John.
Great time. If this tour comes anywhere near you, definitely go see it.
They're all
single band was great.
Yeah, they're touring the entire fall. Yeah, this showboat's not docking anytime soon, so you really want to hit it. So yeah, awesome time. Okay, so I am always intrigued when people call themselves the real such and such. Okay,
which happens a lot.
I like it because it implies that they are so popular that there are imposters that need to be sorted out. I don't know whether the impetus is like a broken partnership or a divorce or whatever, but it makes for a fascinating study. For example, Ray had just about enough of the posers when he put up that brand new sign, The Real Ray's Barbershop. Such a shame the other Ray's was run by a guy named Caton. The uninformed college hoop discussions at the fake Ray's are a dead giveaway. This ends today.
Well, you could hear the imposters groaning in agony when Dave changed his Twitter handle to The Real Ink Palace Tattoo Shop.
Oh, my. That's a way to deal with that problem.
Yeah. It's really sad, you know. I mean, people could have accidentally wandered into a henna place and then complain it all washed off and wonder why it didn't hurt. Think about all the unnecessary confusion that was dispelled when the Instagram account for The Real Suds Orgy Laundromat was created.
Oh, my.
All those fake suds orgies soon realized that their doom was soon about to go down the drain.
There's nothing worse than fake suds orgies. I found it was important to inquire as to the genuine nature of a transaction. Pardon me, sir, but How do I know this is the real Big Bertha's bail bonds? It doesn't indicate such on your neon sign, which, by the way, is flickering rather badly outside.
How come all those bail bonds place of flickering signs? Seems to go with the territory.
Imagine how the revenue streams of the fake versions of Junk Fiend's junk removal, when they changed their name to indicate how real they were. We're talking about some upset Junk Fiends.
And I mean, I am so glad that they clarified who the real Slim Shady is. I mean, they even had him stand up in case you were still confused. And I will only watch the real Housewives of Atlanta. The real ones are so much faker than the fake ones.
I hear the guy that runs the fake Greasy Tony's Pizza Barn uses canned sauce. Yeah. Oh, wait, here's one more. Let's put it up on the screen. Okay, go.
I am not getting a cheesesteak unless it comes from the real thing. I mean, those other places, who knows if it is actually bread, cheese, onion, and steak? It might even be that fake Subway bread. How about this week? Our feature interview is with none other than Bryan Funck, vocalist for the Louisiana-based post-hipster sludge band Thou. We have a fascinating discussion about the band's 18-year stint and seemingly endless discography of collaborations and splits. We play a cheeky round of blaspheming monikers and even get into a bit of a metalcore geek out. So stay tuned for that.
Okay, let's play a song.
This is from 2014's full-length Heathen. This is Thou with Ode to Physical Pain.
Okay, let's talk about Patreon. First, let me point out that I have the Real Ray's Barbershop behind me. Do not fall for Caton's antics. The site is patreon.com/Snaggletooth Podcasts. I'm going to add some reviews. I've been a busy beaver this week. I've been listening to the first Ulcerate album a lot. They're Kiwis, you know. And I'm going to throw up a review of Enslaved's proggy kind of heavy period in the 2000s. Either Isa or Rune, or I can't keep track of all these one-syllable Norwegian words, but I'll get one of them up there anyway. So get over to Patreon, get some more great reviews from Snaggletooth.
Also, I will be adding into our Patreon another one of my cooking demonstrations, so you won't want to miss that. I mean, everybody's got to eat. You may as well eat tastily.
Any ideas?
Yeah, I think I'm going to do my famous meatballs / spaghetti.
Okay, very good. I've seen her spaghetti. It's spectacular. So, anyway, so yeah, get over to Patreon and find all kinds of for $6.66 a month, which is, I mean, come on, you know, you spend more than that on porn. I mean, so $6.66 a month, at least coffee. But it unlocks all kinds of content you can't get anywhere else, more market space than you can handle. So, okay, so we're bringing back popular demand, Satanic Sock Theater. This week on Satanic Sock Theater, we're going to read you a little bit of Daniel Ekeroth's 2008 tome, Swedish Death Metal. It's highly recommended for any fan of the chainsaw sounds of bands like Bathory, Nihilist, Dismember, etc. The history of all is discussed in ridiculous detail. And this week we are going to focus on the startup of one of my favorite bands, Nihilist, which became Entombed, which became the Helicopters. So take it away.
Hey, did you hear we're going to read about some Swedish death metal this week?
Yeah, Nihilist, I'm stoked. I used to crank that back in the early 90s. My car had blown its speakers, but somehow the Nihilist stuff sounded amazing.
Nihilist came from a core of 5 developing young musicians: Nick Anderson, Alex Heliod, Leif Kuzner, Ulf Cederlin, and Lars Goran Petrov. In 1986, the 14-year-old Anderson met Heliod and Kuzner during a summer camp. Some sources state this happened in 1985, but Nick has straightened me out at this point. They realized they all liked extreme music and formed the bands of the Sons of Satan together.
We made some logos and rehearsed a bit, but it was never really serious. But in the autumn, I started to travel a long way from Varberg to Kista, where they lived, to hang out, Nick says. Simultaneously, the two youngsters Ulf Cederlin
and Lars Goran Petrov got to know each other at school in Bredang.
We were both metalheads. He played drums and he knew that I played guitar. So naturally, we just started to jam together. We formed some punk bands since nobody else in school was into metal. Eventually, we put up an ad at Heavy Sounds searching for a bass player. That is how we got to know Nick Anderson, Oof says.
The three teenagers found each other and soon began to create music. According to Nick, since it was much shorter ride to Bredang than Kista, I started to hang around a lot with LG and Oof. We started loads and loads of bands under thousands of names and even recorded a song called Evil at Studio Z in the Youth Center in Satra, where we also rehearsed. I think we called ourselves Blasphemy at that demo, but I'm not sure. I'm also not sure who was in the band.
According to Oof, it kind of took off from there. I think we called ourselves Blasphemy for some time, with me and Nick on guitars, with LG on drums, and Kenny Knaxon, later in the Helicopters with Nick, on bass.
While Nick, LG, Oof, Leaf, and Alex were fooling around on trial bands, another group rose in the Stockholm underground. That band was Morbid, and was formed at the end of 1986 by teenagers Per Engvolen and Slater on bass. Though Slater might never have rehearsed with Morbid, according to Oof, he was still involved in forming the band.
Members, especially guitarists, came and went around the group's mastermind, Olin, for a while, before the group ended up as a quartet with John Hagstrom, TG from the punk band The Sun on guitars, and Jens Nastrom on bass. They searched for a drummer to fit their evil and dark music, and eventually L.G. Petrov joined. Soon, TJ, who wrote most of the group's material, left as well, and his job was offered to Oof.
Oof says, LG went behind our backs and joined Morbid, after which Nick started to play drums in the remains of Blasphemy. Since LG was my closest friend, I hung around Morbid a lot and saw all their first gigs. The guitarists came and went in the band, and eventually it was my turn to join. But anyway, the guys of Morbid weren't satisfied with LG and wanted to try out another drummer. Dead and I brought Nick and rehearsed some songs. We thought it sounded good, but he didn't get the job. I don't remember why.
Nick Anderson has a completely different recollection. Oof and LG knew these guys and told me they needed a drummer. So, I went to rehearsal space to give it a go. The day when I went there, I had put on a white Vermont t-shirt, and that would prove to be a fatal decision. Obviously, this was all wrong according to the image they wanted to create for themselves. So, I was basically rejected even before I started to play. They wanted to be evil, and my t-shirt obviously wasn't. At this point, I was still of the opinion that the fastest band wins, and didn't fully grasp which bands were true or not. But once I had buried myself deeply into the death metal underground, I myself became the most stubborn antagonist towards everything that wasn't hard enough. Thinking back, it's a little embarrassing, but it's cool at the same time, because it shows dedication.
If Nick had chosen a battery shirt for his one rehearsal with Morbid, things might have turned out very different for the Swedish death metal scene. Whatever the true circumstances, Morbid did ultimately separate Oof and LG from Nick. Blasphemy folded when Oof and LG focused on Morbid. So it all came down to a t-shirt? Well, isn't that the coziest of coincidences? Does Uncle Jack need to start keeping an eye on you too?
No,
Uncle Jack!
All right, let's play a song from Nihilist. This is The Face of Evil.
Okay. Let's talk about goofing off at work, because everyone likes to. Everyone likes to get paid to goof off. I know a woman at one of my previous jobs. She stopped off. The ruse was she was going to drop off paperwork with a customer. She then disappeared for 3 hours, shopping while on the clock. Then she expensed the mileage. Here's how she got busted. She expensed the mileage between the mall, Burger King, and her nail salon.
My God.
Just the fucking balls on these people. But
Yeah, I didn't work for a long time being a stay-at-home mom for, 12 years or so.
yeah.
And when I went back to work, the very idea that I was getting paid to pee kind of was like, wow, I'm getting paid to pee.
Wow, you had small expectations. Yeah. I think that the phenomenon got worse during lockdown. The idea of getting paid to work from home just took goofing off to new levels. I mean, so many people were logged in while watching Tiger King and discussing it on Twitter all day. Clearly, the Dow Jones was affected. Oh my God, do you think she killed him? Oh, girl, that evil Carol fed him to the goddamn tigers.
Yeah, that was all the buzz.
Got really dark. I don't think I finished the show because when it
I did. It got
when it got
really
to the
dark
end
at
with
the
the
end.
guy with meth teeth and all, and it completely veered into a
And the people who were making money with the tiger cubs, and it was dark.
Yeah. The first half of
Exploiting
this,
them, basically.
the first few shows were great, but well, you worked in an office where people watch TV all day, right?
I did. And the reason why it was obvious that they were watching TV on their phones, despite the use of earbuds, was when they would yell out, "Oh no, he is not the father."
Oh my God.
I was like, "You did
At
not
work.
just do this." It was horrible. And I also had a manager who would come out of her office every day around 10 and announce she was going to the bar, which I thought sounded really bad. But see, what she meant was she was going to the local bar because she literally played the lottery every day. And I mean, multiple. She had lists of numbers she would play, and did all this while on the clock, of course. And it just sounded to me like she was going to get toasted at 10 a.m., which she was not. She was just doing the lottery thing, which is equally weird.
I've had my share of young females work for me back when I was middle manager. And there were more than one time that I would come up. These kids were like my prodigies. Like I trained them on everything. I would just, if I saw one of them watching TV on their phone, I would just kind of come up behind them and go, "What are you watching?" And she would tell me, I'd say, "That's not the kind of thing you want your boss to see you doing." Oh, okay. Like they just did not know. Like apparently, like wherever they worked before, that was okay. But I had to that was as putting the hammer down as I ever did.
Yeah, they on
You don't want to catch your boss doesn't. Yeah.
On top of like shouting about.
I didn't kirk out or anything. I just would be like, "You don't want to put that away. Your boss could get pissed off at that."
It is not
Referring to yourself in the third person was a big deal for me.
They would start going on and on about whatever stories, which is code for soap opera they were watching. Oh, she did not sleep with him and his brother and the mailman.
I had a guy once submit an expense report for the 25 cents he spent on a newspaper. And when I questioned it, he just said, "What? I did pay for it."
Oh my God.
Like he didn't see that as a penny at all. Stealing stuff from work is a popular tactic for some people. I worked for this freight broker in my 20s, and we were kind of taking it to them. We never paid. We stole stamps, whiteout, printer cartridges, Sharpies, copy paper, anything. Used the copy machine all the time. Things were rampant, and then they hired this big burly woman to be the supply cabinet manager. This woman clamped down like nobody else. I mean, no more ordering actual replacement pens. I mean, how much is a Bic? Set you back, right? She would go for the shitty pen refill things that never worked, I mean, we couldn't have such decadence of ordering actual replacement pens, Once the new regime was in place, requests for legal pads were denied unless you were sea-level or higher. And getting into the supply cabinet required 2 keys at the same time. Turn, it was like that kind of thing. Yeah.
Did you fill out your paperwork in triplicate for the request?
Most of her job was to go around and check the staplers to make sure we weren't abusing the privilege. I mean, staples don't grow on trees, people. Requisition forms for toner cartridges required 3 sets of signatures. Every employee had a paper clip ration.
Wow.
That was mathematically determined by a complex formula of tenure plus your slot on the organizational chart. I'm pretty sure using the laminator required congressional approval.
Yeah,
She was good at her job.
You need somebody like that because
You get to the point where you're like, you know what? I need some pens. I'm just going to go to the dollar store and get my own. That's the goal. They want you to do that.
Instead of stealing from work, you're buying things from
Yep,
work.
exactly.
Well, we once had an office manager that was quite the opposite. She took everything that wasn't nailed down. I actually walked in on her in the kitchen, and she was taking the industrial style of aluminum foil that they had bought, for us to wrap up.
She's shoving her purse.
Just shoving it in her gigantic purse.
That's why she had a gigantic purse.
I didn't know what to say, so I just kind of said hi, like it was normal, just to help yourself to the kitchen supplies.
Please, aluminum, I'm triggered.
But and then later on, we found that she wrote a fake letter, and we found it on the PC she was working on after she was fired, stating to our local electric company that she made minimum wage so she could get assistance on her electricity bill. And she had a head of HR as some other girl who just worked there.
To witness it or something?
To witness. She said had her as head of HR, but she was really just the front desk girl.
She was a busy beaver.
She also billed herself for cataract surgery with no insurance so that she could apply for medical assistance and get a refund for paying for surgery out of pocket when she made such little money.
Listen, just between us, last time I billed myself, I had to send myself to collections. I was a deadbeat to myself. So, anyway.
Well, this one was not a criminal mastermind because she got caught because she used a fake address on the bill, and it was returned to us in the mail so we could open it and see that, her name on it. She had billed herself for surgery. And when we pulled it up on the computer, she had changed it in the computer to test patient, but it didn't take us long to figure it out.
Okay. Well, let's play a song from Dow's 2020 collaboration with Emma Ruth Rundle. This is a song called Monolith. Okay, let's talk about hum nutrition.
Our ad this week is our supplements that we take every day, Hum Nutrition. They've literally got a supplement for any concern you might have. They've got ones that make you sleep. They've got ones that increase your metabolism, like Skinny Bird, and they even have those yummy apple cider gummies that are great and get your metabolism going, which is great if you're a little older, if you know what I'm saying. They've got Wingman to help with those hangovers and to prevent them completely. Clean out that liver, folks. You know it needs it to be done. They also have sleep aids. If you have trouble sleeping, they have some great valerian root. All of their products are based in science. They're actually developed by dermatologists and doctors. You can even go online and take the quiz or even chat with someone about your concerns. They've got stuff for fine lines. My favorite is Collagen Pop. I really think it's helped my ligaments, tendons. Everything feels better. Skin's hydrated, and I owe that totally to Red Carpet. So all our order will be coming this week. In fact, I've ordered some celery gummies to further help detoxify us.
I ordered a new kind of pill. It's called Damn, and it makes you look like Dave Chappelle.
Anyway, if you want to...
It's the dark web hum. Anyway, more on this later. Damn!
Use our hum link. It will save you $20 off your first order, and you can choose the products that are right for you.
Okay, let's play the theme from Campfire.
Because streaming services are evil corporations that gatekeep bands from their fans and pay them pennies while collecting millions.
This is Campfire.
Okay, this week on Campfire, we are featuring the Finnish death metal gods Demilich. The site is demilich.bandcamp.com.
Demilich is a Finnish death metal band which formed in the early 1990s and consists of frontmen Antti Bowman, guitarist Aki Haitonen, bassist Ville Kostinen, and drummer Mikko Verns. Their debut album
is Computer.
No. Their debut album, Nespoof, 1993, features intricate death metal riffs with unusually low guttural vocals in the vocal fry register.
Let us drop in the vocal fry terminology now.
The album contains long, complicated song titles and unconventional lyrics, which were written in code in the booklet. Demilich played, which was believed to be their last show, on July 22nd, 2006. But they have performed many shows since then, including appearances at the JLo Metalli Metal Music Festival and Maryland Death Fest.
I bought the CD with money that I got for selling a copy of Pink Floyd The Wall. This makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. So we'll start with, the focus on the Bandcamp site is their sprawling compilation. It's basically their complete discography called 20th Anniversary of Emptiness. But it includes their 1993 masterpiece, Nesmith. So we'll tackle that first. More angles than a geometry textbook, more twists than a corkscrew. Finland's Demlik were a fringe on a fringe, a sound so unique, so pioneering, it was bound to become a hit on the interweb. Even their tree root logo was in a class by itself. But unlike many other cases where the pencil arm weirdos are just raving to hear the clicking of their own keyboards, this time this obscurity was absolutely warranted in getting the praise it deserved. A horrific shade of extreme death metal executed with jazz-like deftness and fantastically jagged edges sticking out in every direction. Even the most diehard Suffocation fans would have scratched their heads over this obtuse little nugget had it been widely available back in the day.
Epic song titles like the 16th Six-Tooth Son of 14-4 Regional Dimensions, still unnamed, would seem to indicate this is an album like no other. Evidently, guitarist vocalist Antti Bowman tried to cram all the lyrics into the titles for the attention challenge. The density of his irregular guitar mathematics is astounding, particularly when set against the equally calculus-inclined percussion of Miko Vines.
Is computer.
Not computer. The band would be fascinating as an instrumental band, but subsonic croaks of Bowman make the listening all the more treacherous, like exploring some new sonic caves deep in the earth that twist and turn and run in sloping circles.
Every song is packed with dizzying performances, but the bass breakout towards the end of The Cry deserves special mention, as all the distorted guitar falls away, then rises in an impossible din of atonal harmony. Some of the songs just break out of ugly cocoons when you least expect it, like Raped, Embalmed, Beauty Sleep. That's the one we're going to play for in a minute. The filthy guitar emerges at the midpoint, disgustingly intense. My copy is a remaster, or you could just download their stuff from the band's site for free if you're a poser. So this includes more goodies like the 4 instinctive tales of decomposition, demo stuff with sparse, skippy, thrashy drums falling behind the guitar muck. Overwhelming as it is, I can't stop listening to that two independent organism stuff. What is the guitar doing in that song?
As you probably already know, this was the band's only full-length album, and apart from some demo box set stuff, they chose not to release any formal follow-up despite the huge interest from freaks like me. I'm glad they didn't destroy their reputation with acres of lackluster follow-ups and lineup changes.
I know we're rambling, but suffice to say, Demlik is at the height of technical death metal, pure and simple. So here is the song I promised, Raped, Embalmed, Beauty Sleep. Okay, we're back to Demlik. Now we're going to talk about the rest of the box set. Disc 2 offerings are extensive, consisting of mostly pre-Nesmith demos and a handful of extras. The audio of the 2006 Demlik 2.0 Vanishing Sessions came through a little tidier and more evenly mixed than the classic stuff. But there's no skimping on the band's legendary technical arrangements, atonal guitars erupting, lock in and out of harmony, drums bucking like wild horses during the thundering stops and starts of The Faces Right Below the Skin of the Earth, while Vanishing of Emptiness side shifts from a doomy crawl to a cyclonic mid-pace, riffs and furious drumming buzzing and evaporating in each ear, Antti Bowman's growls of disgust at a molested planet floating over the din.
The demo stuff from the 4 Instructive Tales of Decomposition features a few cuts that didn't make it into Nesmith. Drummer Miko Vine's drum sound is so stripped down you can almost feel the dust rising as he rips through the speeding rolls of 2 independent organisms one suppating deformity.
Is computer.
Not computer. The guitars are a little further back in the mix, and it is harder to hear the chromatic complexities against the drums and the uncontrollable regret of the rotting flesh. But one can still marvel at the murky, bleak mood the band was able to create, even at this early stage. Bowman vocals, rumbles were already unreal.
There's no denying the quality of the material, but I didn't really find anything in the demo stuff that eclipsed the might of the Nesmith record. I'm still deciding which version of The Echo and The Cry is my favorite, but suffice to say, this stuff is legendary for a reason, and it's all available from the band's Bandcamp site. So get over there now and check it out. What better way to spend a Saturday afternoon than exposing your neighbors to 2 hours of croaking technical death metal? They never had it so good. So let's play a song. This is When the Sun Drank the Weight of the Water. Okay, let's talk about our feature interview.
This interview this week, as promised, is with Bryan of Thou. We talk a lot about the theories behind Thou, their music, whether they have mosh pits or not. And we even have...
They should have mosh pits or not.
And also, we even discuss a few other bands. So
We do.
let's get right into this interview. We had a great time talking with Bryan.
Has anyone ever referred to you that way and said, let's get the funk out with Bryan Funck?
Oh, I've heard all of those.
I bet
It's
you
been
have.
like the high school days.
Yeah. Because that you're probably around our age. It's probably the same thing where that was, God, that album, I think it sold like 5 million copies or something. It's like unthinkable now, Now.
Well, I went to an all boys high school, so people are just mean and terrible.
God, my daughter's boyfriend his name is Fred Durst, right? And he's a real estate agent. So his slogan is, if you're not Durst, you're last, and all this crap. And then we met his dad, and his dad was Fred Durst. And we were like, but not the Fred Durst. So we were like teasing him. We're like, oh, Woodstock 99. And he was like, what? What are you talking about?
He doesn't know who Fred Durst.
Yeah.
He had no idea. Because I guess, they're 30 some years old. He was like, what?
It's like your name being George Washington, and you're like,
All right.
I'm sorry, who's that? I'm
You
drawing a
should
blank.
you should still interview him for the channel, but just ask him real estate questions.
God. It was.
How do you feel about plywood? Do you? Oh, no. Anyway. Well, thank you for doing this. It's great.
Yeah.
We've been huge Thou fans for years. You guys are some of the heaviest. You've put out some of the heaviest stuff I've ever heard. So.
And sent him back when he had the webzine, the only CD he ever got with a ribbon on it.
Yeah, he even had the little ribbon. It was nice.
Little belly band.
Yeah, exactly. A little belly band.
He still has it on.
Of course I do. Yes, of course. Absolutely. So before we forget, you guys must be working on some new music. Do you have something that you're working, like a split or an album that you're working on, or?
Yeah, we have a new record that we started writing it when we got back together, like a year into COVID, and then we had to shelve it because we did the collaboration with Mismer and with Liam and then that Norco soundtrack. So we basically got kind of sidetracked, and then we just kind of recently picked it back up, and I think finished it. We're recording next month, so I hope it's finished.
Okay.
I was
So
gonna
you're looking
say,
like 2024, you think something be out?
Yeah, I think May is what we're looking at.
Oh, cool.
I figured, judging by your prolific catalog, it was probably coming soon.
Yeah, it's almost like you guys have become like collaboration core, You're like
Yeah, we don't do that
known
much.
for. I don't know a lot of heavy bands that are known for their collaborations, but you guys have kind of found that niche.
I think the body. I think Chip and Lee, whatever they do, they always have great ideas. So we always just steal their ideas, and they're like the kings of the collaboration record.
It's like when they used to put you in groups in school, and you're like, I want to be with that guy because he does all the work. I like.
Yeah,
him.
right, right.
Well, whose original idea was it when you guys came together? Was it kind of mutual, or did you go to them, they come to you?
Like, how did I join the band, or how did the band start?
When you collaborated with the body.
With the body. I think Lee brought it up. I think I don't know if they had done too much too many other collaborations. They had done, like, they had always gotten people on their records, like All the Waters had the Assembly of Light Choir on a lot of the tracks, and I think maybe coming off that record, they really liked doing that. And we were gonna, it's at one point we were gonna, right after Summit, we were gonna do a Fiona Apple tribute record, like a LP's worth of Fiona Apple covers, and we were gonna get them to play on a couple of those to make them heavier, but we kind of scrapped that idea, and then at some point Lee brought up us writing a record together. So
Yeah, I loved the idea. I love the version of the Nine Inch Nails song, A Terrible Lie on there. I love the way you guys took that song, completely flipped it on its head. That's my definition of a good cover. I hate it when a cover sounds like exactly the same, but you guys really ripped it up on that one. Was it kind of a collective to do that one, or did one or somebody pick it?
I can't remember how Nine Inch Nails came up. I think maybe we were talking about doing the record kind of more in that style. Like I was pushing us to do like kind of a Downward Spiral type sounding record at the time. And then we got together to write, and it just didn't come out like that. So it came out the way it was, but somehow that idea of doing that sort of thing, somehow snowballed into the Nine Inch Nails cover. And then at the tour, we did a tour. It wasn't right after that session. It wasn't when we did that session recorded, but it was like a year later, we did another tour at the Body. And I think we did like a Fleetwood Mac cover and a Marilyn Manson cover. So yeah, I mean, we're all into all that old 90s stuff. So
who's the big Nirvana fan? Because lots of Nirvana covers. How did that come
Whole
about?
tribute album.
Everybody in that. That's like one of the only bands we can agree on.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah.
What's your Kurt Cobain theories?
Kurt Cobain theory? Elliott Smith's girlfriend did it.
Okay. I made her watch the Mentors documentary so she could get that the guy from the Mentors was hired by Courtney.
Yeah. I've looked at all stuff for. I don't know. I think he just did it.
I'm gonna go with the Mentors just because why not?
Yeah. Those guys were desperate for cash and beer money, right?
Yeah.
So going back to the very beginning, how did you guys come together as Thou, and how did you choose that kind of iconic name?
Well, I joined in 2007, and the band started in like the end of 2004. And I think Andy and Matthew were in a band together before Thou, and so they wanted to do something else, and I don't know, somehow they wrangled Terry into it, and Mitch they knew from some other bands, so it just kind of came together. Thou was like the least offensive band name they picked, I think. Offensive, like aesthetically offensive. I think the other one they were going to go with was Forever Death was the original one they were kind of leaning towards for a while. But I think it just, somebody said it or something, they thought it sounded cool, and it was like innocuous enough, I think, where
everybody had like anal cunt type of brand ideas.
Well, it wasn't anything like that. It was just like, terrible band names, just not good.
It's not good, right?
Mitch and Matthew are in a band right now called Big Garden, so you can see.
Yeah. Okay.
See where they live.
And then I think you do really well with going kind of with that name, which is kind of grandiose. And then your covers are all the kind of like medieval looking. Like
I want to ask you about that. So the covers on the Bandcamp page are different in some cases than the actual.
Talk about the artwork.
Yeah, the artwork. Like how? Like what is that all about?
I mean, when I joined the band, like my bands up until Thou were bands that lasted like a year or two at best. So like there wasn't a lot of there wasn't the thought that the thing was going to last this long.
Yeah.
That's point A. So point B is that when we did have releases, it just felt like I had, real estate to play with. So I wanted, and also like at the time, like CDs were, they were like going out, they're out of style. So it was like it not that they were like throwaway, but I felt like if we were gonna do CDs, I wanted to make the CD different in some way or interesting in some way. So we did art for the record, and then I would do different art for the CD, and then at the time too, with the streaming stuff, the digital stuff, that was like totally new. I mean, I joined the band in 07, and iTunes and all that stuff was like just kind of starting to like be a thing. So when I can't remember if it was Robotic Empire, so whoever asked me for like the digital art, I was like, oh, well, do I just, can I do something different? And they're like, yeah, you can do something different. So I did something different. And then I think I just took, when we eventually did a band camp, I just took the few things that we had sort of done for the digital art, and I just sort of crafted like a uniform look for the band.
Great.
I wanted the band camp to just have I didn't want it to look like a mishmash. If you put all our records, people say it has a look, and maybe I don't know, but like, I didn't want it to look like a pile of stuff. I wanted to just like have a look, and so it's easy to just take those like Doré woodcuts and give it a certain like flourish and just keep it consistent with all of them.
So not everybody's like Voivod and Mastodon, where they were like, all right, we have the next 23 album covers already worked out ahead of time. I mean, not everybody has that,
No, I wish. I mean, that's like one of my big regrets with the band is if I thought that I was going to be this much of a long-term thing, I would have put a little bit more effort into like having like a very focused aesthetic because I like when you can like look at a record and tell what it is without having to look at the text and stuff. I mean, I agree with you. Yeah. That's part of why we gravitated towards Sacred Bones. Like we liked their aesthetic. I thought it was like a cool look. You could just look at a record and tell it was a Sacred Bones record. I thought that was sick.
Right. The opposite of that would be like the early Pantera records, where you're like, what were you guys thinking? I mean, it looks like a box of cereal. What are you doing?
Well, any of that 90s stuff, all that stuff looks even like the old Metallica records. They like look cool. If I look at them now, they almost look like half of them look like a magic card or something, and not in a good way.
I know. You're right. Yeah, absolutely.
So if you look, you guys, just up on Metal Archives or Viewer, I've seen everything from you're called sludge metal, stoner rock, drone metal. I don't think it's necessarily any one of those things. If you could make yourself a label, whether it be real or not, where would you put?
I read an interview where he said hipster metal, and I thought that was perfect because that's the right thing to say to piss off the
hipster
the
doom.
Hardcore.
Well, we're post hipster doom now.
Post hipster.
We've
that's
past
awesome.
the hipster doom. Yeah, we're post hipster.
Excellent.
Punk.
This week we're featuring a post hipster metal band. Now.
Yeah, put that in you. Yeah, I mean, I just call us a punk band. I mean, we all come from like the DIY scene. I'm like a hardcore kid. I don't even like metal that much. There's like this much metal I listen to. It's mostly our friends' bands. So like I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really it's always been interesting seeing like the arc of things with us, with like who's coming out to our shows and what kind of bands we were playing with. Because like when we were first booking the tours and stuff, I was booking us through all the like punk and hardcore dudes I knew that were booking shows, and we play with punk and hardcore bands. It was awesome.
Yeah.
We were playing with like crust bands more than standard metal bands.
Right.
And then when we started playing with metal bands, it was like just like us. It was metal bands that came from the punk scene. It was it was Leech or Fell Voices or Ashbore or whoever. So it was it was great.
Right.
Yeah, you definitely have that punk rock do-it-yourself thing going on. Is there anything that you farm out, or is everything done in-house?
Like what? Just
t-shirts,
the writing. Just the writing. We get Lee and Chip to do all our writing for us.
And writing.
Yeah.
And
no,
art.
like you mean like the artwork and
the artwork, the merch.
I mean, it depends on what you mean by that. Like, we're not screening our own shirts. Like somebody's screening the shirts. Although, like most of the stuff we do for tour, it's like a friend of mine doing it. I mean, the artwork. it's not like I drew any of that stuff. I just stole it from different places. But we've in recent years we've started working with people that artists that we like, or that we like a lot of, that we know. Like for Magus, we got to use some stuff. We licensed some stuff from Ellen Jane Rogers, who's a photographer from the UK, and for the Emma thing, we got our friend Craig Mulcahy to do some photography. Our friend Teddy Taylor, we've used some of her stuff on some of the records. The Nirvana covers collection thing that's about to come out has art from our friend Trash Boy. It's got Jake from here. It does some like crazy like Xeroxed bondage BDSM stuff. So we've started using other people in terms of like that. But that stuff for us is like, it's like we're either going to use somebody that we like, that we can just reach out to and talk to, or like, because Ellen Rogers is like she's an old punk. She's like an anarchist person. We're going to use a friend of ours that we like their stuff, and for us, like, part of it is like getting images that fit with whatever the record is or whatever we're trying to do, but also like getting our friends' work, using us as a way to like get our friends' work out there whenever we can.
Yeah.
We don't record the like we're not recording the records, but the guy that records the records, like my friend from high school that's recorded 90% of our stuff. We're on a record label, so it's not like we still self-release some stuff, but we're on a record label, so they have people, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know. It depends on what you mean by DIY. I don't know. We go on tour. I still drive the van. We're in a van, so
get in the van. Yeah.
We are. It's funny because like the record that we're working on, the finishing umbilical is like. It's sort of like the taking, at least how I wrote it was a sort of like taking a survey of how the way we present ourselves and the decisions we make now and the compromises we make now, how that lines up with like my more youthful punk ideology. So it kind of goes to that question, but like my thought, my at least on the record, my thought is that we don't do a good job. We do a bad job. we haven't committed ourselves well enough to these things. Not that I'm hating the decisions we've made, but I wish things could be a little different. Sometimes.
Is it, when you guys record, is it always like everybody in the same room, everybody has to rehearse, or are you trading files, or like how much like trading of files will you tolerate?
Do you still have 2 members in California?
No, pretty much everybody lives in New Orleans except our drummer. He's from Tyler's from Nashville, but he just moved up to Chicago, so he's a little further away now. We don't really do too much. Andy's the only one that we'll kind of send like a demo type thing. We don't really, we tried going back and forth trading stuff. And when the other guys did live in California, when Mitch and Andy lived in California, there was a bit of like, the rest of us were rehearsing. We sometimes record, but like do the actual recording minus their stuff. And then they would come in, basically have to learn it and sit in there and overdub it. Rhea Sylvia was basically like Andy and Mitch had to sit there and play everything. Probably a couple other little things. I think like most of the Nirvana, like a chunk of the Nirvana covers, because we did a chunk of those at once. But yeah, we're not good at the trading files. We can't. Yeah. We're not it's real funny because people think we're like because we put out seemingly a lot of records or like a wealth of material, but we're not a very disciplined band. We're a very poorly disciplined band, and we like even the stuff we've done in the last few years, it was like pulling teeth because we'd only get little snippets when we get together. We'd have to sort of like marathon things, and these days everybody's like old and tired and like sick of like the marathon, so like it's a little harder to like get stuff going. But I don't know, every now and then it's something like there's a spark and something happens and we can get a little bit done. But yeah, so trading files, no. Recording, generally, like, yeah, we all get together in the same room. We'll live track everything except the vocals, basically. And then I'll come in, overdub the vocals, and we'll spend a couple days overdubbing guitars, maybe punching in little parts if somebody messed up a part. As long as we get the drum track right, we're good.
Yeah.
The record we're getting ready to do, I think we're going to try to live, depending on where we record it, I think we're going to try to live track it in the room without like ISO booths. So it's going to have to be like a perfect take every time. I mean, we'll probably do a little bit of, James will probably do a little bit of like adjusting, but I think it's going to be like pretty live and raw sounding.
Yeah, we really like the collaboration you did with Emma Ruth Rumble. I think it's a really good idea, and I don't know, probably you didn't do it for this, but like for that tour, you're gonna, she's gonna get exposure to some of Thou fans, you're gonna get exposure to some of theirs because the genres are kind of different. But I think it's a really good idea to kind of get crossover fans, to listen to your stuff too. I mean, but it's,
yeah, I mean, yeah, we've tried that over the years in a number of different ways. It doesn't always work great. Yeah, I don't know how many of her fans appreciate us or me, at least.
Your vocals back and forth with her are so great on that record. I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah, I mean, but for like a person who's like steeped in that sort of thing, vocals like that are like, yeah, it's no big deal, it's like whatever. But like for people, there's I forget, because like I said, I come from like hardcore, so like I'm used to like whatever.
Yeah,
right. So like but for like civilians who aren't
right,
like
95% of the people that can't take death metal vocals or hardcore vocals,
right? I mean yeah, so like I don't know,
we don't
so,
hear
like,
it anymore, but they do.
Yeah, right. But yeah, we I mean that was it wasn't really like, I mean, I don't know, I don't want to say it wasn't like yeah, we've always tried to like branch out. Like we took MJ Guider on tour. That's like a dream pop band, like an electronic, basically an electronic band. Being on Sacred Bones, I mean, the idea of us going to Sacred, like that was to like, doing the Norco soundtrack for our friend's video game, like, that was us trying to like, like push it a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's sort of like punk, like doing a punk show or something. Like you're looking for like a 10% return, a 1% return. You hand out 1 million flyers and you're trying to get like 100 people to show up, and that's a success.
We
like,
totally get that.
Yeah.
I remember like in the early 90s on the radio, I always think that the mainstream people are lying. Like I always believe our ilk. But I remember this interview with Janie Lane from Warren where he was like, the guy asked him like, who are you listening to? And he's like, I like this band called I Hate God. And I'm like, no, you don't. No, you don't. Fuck off. You're lying. They're our band. Fuck you. Don't even say it. So I always think that the Taylor Swifts are lying. They don't belong in our realm.
No, it's fine. I mean, I don't know. I'm less concerned with that these days than I am just like being around people I can get along with and that aren't turds. It's like I've been in punk and hardcore and like metal, I guess, long enough to like, people who like share my tastes, like that 9 out of 10 times it doesn't mean shit. Like doesn't mean,
because we'll argue about the 1% that we don't agree on. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we like if we compared our record collections, we would agree on like almost all of them. But it only takes one to
Right.
argue all night. Like, I don't know. That's how I am anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He argues on Metal Forum like the whole instigate on Metal Forum.
Yeah, well, kind of. Yeah. So, but whatever. So, but like, I don't care if Fenriz doesn't like this Dark Throne album. It's still good. I don't care what he says. I don't care if he made it. I don't care. It's still good.
It's too once you put it out in the world, it's too late. Like now it's everybody's.
It belongs to the world. Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
So I had kind of a specific question for you, and I will preface this by saying I work for an eye doctor.
Oh yeah, this is a good one. Yeah.
So, I was reading. I love the Ms. Moore collaboration, and
Can you give me contact lenses? I'm having so much trouble getting my contacts.
Yes, I
get
can.
your guy to write me a prescription.
Yeah.
I had to cancel my eye doctor appointment on Monday, and it's like a month out till the next one.
All right, you just tell me your power later. Email and I'll send you also.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry. What's the question?
We like to exploit our employers by stealing stuff from work like anyone else.
Right.
Yes, of course.
They're all free. They give us cases of them, but
Yeah.
But I was curious. Like, I loved the lyric about the perspective and narrowing sense, and I'm like, I don't know why they picked myopia though. I think I would have picked keratoconus or maybe astigmatism or presbyopia. I don't know.
Ophthalmology humor.
Yeah. I mean, Liam came up with the title. I just thought it sounded cool, and like the idea of like just having a narrow point of view. Where I thought that was like interesting. So what if myopia doesn't mean what we think it means?
Yeah, no, it does. I was just teasing when I was like thinking about it. I'm like, keratoconus is probably a better one because that's when your eyeball is actually kind of football shaped and it gets worse over time. And eventually a lot of people need to get a corneal transplant. It gets so bad. So that's kind of like, but
If you write any more songs about eye deficiencies, you have an expert.
For sure.
But myopia fits much better lyrically than keratoconus,
You're gonna have to send your complaints to Liam. I was just a yes man on that record, so I was trying to step out of my box a little bit.
Yeah, that was a great collaboration too.
Oh, thank you.
Well, we play a game on the show.
Speaking of bad band names.
Yeah, so let's get into the game. Hopefully you're up for it. Okay. The game is called Blaspheming Monikers. Okay. And the way it works is I have 5 band names. Okay. And I'm going to read them off for you. One of them is made up by me. You have to guess which one is fake.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So here we go. It's this week. It's a bloody mess. So the first band is Inquiring Blood. The second is Chambers of Blood. The third is Knights of Blood. The fourth is Bloodbath and Beyond. And the fifth is Mental Hippie Blood. So take a guess. We'll just keep going until either you get it right or I run out of band names.
I think it's gonna have to be one of the last two. Mental Hippie Blood.
I love that band. They're real.
They're good. They're real.
They're Swedish. They're real. Yeah, they've got 2 full lengths. They're split up. God damn it. I love them. They sound kind of like the band Grand Magus. I don't know if you ever heard them. They're like Swedish stoner rock. But anyway, so they're real. So that leaves Inquiring Blood, Chambers of Blood, Knights of Blood, Bloodbath and Beyond.
I mean, Chambers of Blood and Knights of Blood are so generic. I have to assume that those are band names. Bloodbath and Beyond sounds made up, but it could also just be a screamo band from the early 2000s. Let's go with Bloodbath and Beyond.
No, they're a thrash band from Florida.
Oh my god!
They have 1 EP and 2 fulls.
It's a party thrash band. They're playing with Wastoid and freaking what's that other?
Yeah, they're playing with they're down there with Inhuman Condition and whoever else. Yeah,
Municipal Waste. They're playing with Municipal Waste this weekend.
So that leaves Inquiring Blood, Chambers of Blood, and Knights of Blood.
Inquiring Blood? That sounds like it could be real, but are they real?
Yeah, they're real. They're German death metal. They have 1 EP and 2 fulls. Chambers of Blood is the answer. I made that one up.
You made that.
Knights of Blood is a Spanish heavy metal band. So
are y'all regretting that you got one of the least metal members of the Howl on the channel, or
no, it's I never know how it's gonna go. Usually Americans get it right away. But like the Norwegians are like,
Sure.
That must be incorrect, And you're like, no, that's
I'm a bad American, I guess.
no, you did great. You did great. It's a fun game. So, I mean, you ever just go on random band generator on Metal Archives and just marvel at who thought of this name? Like, did it take you a full 5 minutes to come up with this for your band? I mean, or how about the ones that have there's 7 bands listed with the same name?
Yeah.
How easy is it to verify that now? You know what I mean? Like, hello.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't 1972 anymore. Anyway,
Google it. Google it. Search on Bandcamp. See if anybody's got that Bandcamp already.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. I want Bloodbath and Beyond. I know there's huge merch opportunities.
Does anybody have Stonerhenge yet? Because that was me and Mitch. We're gonna.
I like that one. That's good. Yeah.
Stonerhenge.
The one that I always wanted, if I ever actually get back into having a band, it's going to be called the Illuminatis.
Oh,
I
yeah,
like that name. Yeah.
I think that's a garage rock band right there already. I think you might.
Yeah, I'll be Johnny Dropout. Yeah, it'll be one of those kind of bands.
Yeah.
One of my favorites was always Skank Fragment.
I like that too. Yeah.
Good big all girl punk rock band.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Really good. Yeah.
So a lot of your lyrics kind of go in the punk range, and are a little political, a little nihilist. Does the band kind of have the same political ideas, or do you guys ever kind of argue about?
Do you get in political arguments?
No, I mean we're not. I wouldn't say we're. I mean we're not like 1,000% aligned, but I think where it matters in terms of being like anti-authoritarian and everything that entails, like I think we're all on the same page with that. I don't know. I don't think of us as like a political band. I mean, that political. I mean, we just have personal politics. It's like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's like, especially now, it's like everything is political, I guess. So like, it's sort of a quagmire, but yeah, I don't know. It's like this hating cops like that. No, I don't know.
The general state of the world is right now. It's like I had to kind of stop watching the news. I just couldn't, deal with it.
Sure.
And then I missed the fact that our local grocery stores are no longer, we can't have plastic bags anymore.
The plastic bags have gone the way of
Oh, where are y'all at? No plastic bags?
Baltimore, Maryland. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like it's like lead paint, asbestos, plastic bags. That's pretty much where they're at. Yeah.
I'm the idiot in the grocery store going, can I have some bags? And they were like, no. I'm like, okay, I'll just kick my bread to the car,
bags.
But they had one you could buy. I was like, fine, I'll buy a bag.
Well, it's funny. I lived in California like 15 years ago, right after Hurricane Katrina, and I used to go to this grocery store, like a cheapo spot by my house called You Bag It, and I didn't even realize with the name You Bag It, it means like you better bring a bag, or you paying for a bag. So it was pretty funny. I got there first time I went there. I just had like a tiny little school bag and I'm stuffing it full of stuff.
So, like, who's the most political punk band? You think it was Agnostic Front? Like, who was the most in your face with their politics?
I don't Born Against for me, but I mean,
that's a good one. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, I feel like bands like Minor Threat are like political. They're just they weren't talking about Ronald Reagan or whatever at the time, but they still are like a political band in my mind. And like all the stuff I came up on, like all the 90s hardcore, like that stuff's political, Earth Crisis is political. So like,
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
it just political to me just seems so like it's like such a broad. I don't know. You could paint any band with that. I think.
I loved Minor Threat so much, except for the not drinking and not drugging part. Just take that
favorite part. Come on,
right? Exactly. I like everything except that. Yeah.
You have to kind of
I mean, what? Who's a not political band? Like Blind Guardian or something that's singing about like D&D shit.
You're singing about like we're going to go to Valhalla and raise our tankards and stuff.
Right.
Hey, that's so great.
I don't know. I could see that as a metaphor for something and read something into it. I mean, that's the thing. Like
you can always read something into it.
Yeah. People told me all kinds of crazy stuff about what they think our songs are about. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
I love that you picked Blind Guardian because it ties back into the unified album covers. I mean, there were another one. Every album cover, our next 13, they're all set, Who does that? What's
Gotta
that kind of
in-house
forethought, you know?
Oh my God. So I have never seen you guys live. I think the last tour you smartly skipped Baltimore. A lot of people do like Philadelphia, DC, and
It's on
Baltimore.
a Tuesday night. There'll be like 20 people there. Yeah.
I think the last time we were up there, we didn't. We played Autobar. That's in Baltimore.
Oh
right?
yeah, Autobar. Yeah.
Yeah, we played.
It's still in business.
On that Converge tour, we played Autobar.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Rats the size of cats. Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, I had been to Autobar in like 98 or 99 for a random show, and it was in a different spot. It was like it was like super small.
Yeah, that used to be the place for like heavy music, but I don't know, it changed. Like now I don't know who's playing at the Autobar anymore. Now everything heavy has gone to Baltimore Soundstage and the Metro. So
Yeah.
maybe Autobar's all like Juice
A
Newton
little
cover
bit
bands or
Radiohead,
something now.
but mostly.
Yeah, it used to be the place. Like I saw the Melvins at the Autobar, I saw Mastodon at the Autobar. Yeah. I think early 2000s was really their era for like having all the heavy bands. Yeah.
I was up there for this band As Friends Rust. That was like a kind of post-ish, hardcore-ish something. It was like the singer from this vegan straight edge band Culture was in that band.
Okay.
So I went to go see him. And this other band, Strike Anywhere from Richmond, Virginia, played. It's probably, I think, the first time I saw Strike Anywhere.
I saw
They're
From
like
Ashes From Ashes Rise at the Autobar.
Yeah.
And I had to write a concert review the next day. And there's some other band that opened for them. I forget what they were called, but I said From Ashes Rise was so heavy that they sucked all the oxygen out of the room, but the opening band just did the sucking part. I was really proud of that review.
That's good. Good turn of phrase.
Oh God.
Anyway.
Yeah, so the only thing I could find like on like YouTube was, live recently was the Hellfest in 2022.
Oh, but that was awesome.
6 people on stage, but you guys made it look effortless. That's a lot.
Hellfest. How was that?
Yeah.
It's fine. I don't know. That stuff to me isn't that stuff's not that fun. Like, especially like that kind of thing. I mean, I don't want to talk shit about Hellfest, but like any kind of situation like that where it's like you're on like a giant stage where I gotta look with my binoculars over here to see one of the other people, like that's like not that fun.
Yeah,
like
that's not punk rock. Yeah.
The crowd it's just, well, I mean, whatever. It's just like the thing about shows for me is and the thing I hate about thou shows currently that I've hated for like the last few years is that like for whatever reason people don't understand that like in order for me to like have fun and get into it and be energized, I need to like feed off of like some energy. There needs to be some reciprocal thing going on. This isn't like a transaction. You paid your $5 or whatever, and now I gotta get up here and do a little dance for you. Like, I'm not interested in that. It's not fun. I don't like performing. I don't like, playing shows is fun when I can get out of my head and like there's like an energy and excitement, and like that's not just gonna come out of my butt. Like, I gotta feel it from people putting it out there. If they're not, it's like,
you mean like the reaction of the crowd, or
the reaction of the crowd? Sure. And like a situation like Hellfest, it's like even more difficult to get that reaction because the people are so far away from you. Even if people were kind of like going wild or whatever, like the audience is so, like 1,000 feet away from you. Like,
nobody's jumping up on stage.
It's like watching TV for me from up there. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. I gotta not even be thinking about that. I gotta
like, I'm sure you have stories about like, what's some of your crazier like punk rock house shows? I'm sure you've played some of those. I've been to some punk rock house shows that I can't believe I woke up the next day from.
Yeah, I mean, we
played basement shows where you've been like, wow.
I mean, we've played so many house shows. I don't know if I could like distill it down to like, there's no like, but I mean, there's definitely shows we played. I mean, we just played Houston recently, kind of a few months back, and we probably hadn't played Houston in like 10 years or something. And the time before we played Houston was awesome. One of my favorite thou shows ever, where we went up early for there's like an anarchist book fair, and we went and tabled the book fair, and then we were playing like the after party show that was at like a speakeasy, sort of a punk house, was sort of like
Sort of a bar.
kind of thing. It was
Yeah,
crazy. And it was just wild, people going nuts, but going nuts and having fun without being goofballs. I don't know. That's the other thing too about like what I like my expectation, what I want the audience to do and be is like unrealistic, but
like, how is it unrealistic? What do you expect?
Well, because you want, for me, I want people to like move around and go wild, but I don't want it to be so violent where people are getting hurt. But I don't.
Wait a minute. Hold on. If you guys are changing chords every 2.5 minutes, how do you expect people to be moving around? I mean, if you're going,
I mean, look, if I'm up there moving around, then the people out there could be moving around. There's like, there's no excuse. So
okay, I'm just putting it out there. I just I mean, I didn't expect to see a mosh pit at St. Vitus. I didn't. So
the New York shows are great. I mean, when we play New York, like it's generally great.
That's so cool. I'm just when it's a like a doomier band with a slower tempo, I never expect to see anybody going up, and then when they do, I'm like, okay, wow,
I think it's good crowd surfing music, actually.
Well, I mean, but a lot of places it's not like that. I mean, so
yeah, I don't know. Current metal people to me just seem very uptight, and like the ones, it's like there's an uptightness, and there's like maybe it's because of the age thing now. Like the people have sort of aged with us, but there's like I don't know, hoity-toity, like a nerd quality to it. There's like
there's no safety concern of going up anymore. Like when I was going to shows, I would come home with huge bruises on my ass from being dropped. Now you have people that are going up and they're taking selfies while they're up. I mean, that there's no safety concerns anymore.
We need to get the bag for all the phones at the shows. We need to get rid of all the phones.
You do the Glenn Danzig. Look, I know you've heard this Misfits song 6,000 times, but I want your phones because I'm going to play it now, and I can't have it on the internet.
What's that bomb they set off where all electronics go out for like 10 miles
on Ocean's 11? What's it?
We need to.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
we need to set one of those off and then bring the gear in afterwards
right. Where he's like, it's like a nuclear bomb except without atomic destruction. Yeah. No, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. That's what we need. Yeah.
Well, even so, that footage, you are so serious, which I guess it's serious. I mean, oh my God, you almost look mad, and it was just. But I thought the performance was great.
I'm mad. I am mad that no one's moving around. The show's painful for me. Yeah, I'm mad. Got a lot to be mad about. I don't have health insurance. You're gonna have to steal contact lenses for me.
There we go. See, we're making connections here.
Yeah. We'll move you to Finland. We've heard they have great healthcare.
Yeah, we did. We interviewed a band not that long ago that said that they moved from Canada to Finland because of healthcare.
Really, I would think Canada would have pretty good healthcare.
I think by our standards they do, but I think by this particular band's standards they did not. So yeah.
I mean, I'm on Medicaid, so it's like I'm just happy to have anything.
Exactly right.
Of course, then you got the 6 months of darkness you get to deal with.
Yeah,
right.
That's true. In Scandinavia,
and you need more drugs. It's a vicious cycle.
I guess that's when you go on tour.
Oh, really?
Sure.
So, in your opinion, what has changed most in the music industry in the last 10 years or so?
It's hard for me to say because I never really paid that much attention to like that music industry stuff. We just sort of write songs and put them out, and then write more songs and put those out, and then write more songs and put those out. And that's it. So I don't really pay too much attention to the record stuff. I will say that it seems like people are obsessed with maybe this is just part of social media or whatever, but announcing things and like making these like sort of like grandiose pronouncements about when something's going to happen, or dropping this single or that thing, or what, it like preview of this or teaser of that. And I don't care. Like I just want people to put out records that are good. I don't know.
How about with like shows? I mean, are you seeing more of like the venues wanting a percentage of the merch and stuff like that? Like, I've heard a lot about that.
We've rarely come across this people that do the merch cut shit, and you just tell them no.
Yeah, it's
tell them no.
It's
it came up a couple times on, or maybe once on that Converge tour. One of us at the space in not Grand Rap, Detroit, I think, maybe a place in Detroit, and we were just like, no, it's not in our thing. Our guy didn't sign off on that, so we're not doing that.
Good for you. Good for you. Yeah. I saw Converge a couple times, and the second time I saw him, they cut the show short. Jake Bannon goes, I just got kicked in the head, and I'm seeing 3 of everything, so this is going to be our last song. And I was like, fuck you. I want 20 more minutes. This is a Wednesday night.
Yeah, I thought they used to be hard asses. Converge was
exactly. I was like,
you go to a Converge show, you're going to get something broken or cut off you, you get stabbed or something.
I was like, all right, okay, so we're softening it up apparently. Great.
Old fogies.
Great. I don't get my full 40 minutes of Converge. Thanks.
Yeah, people love Converge, but Nate that plays bass was in a band called Jesuit that I think is like,
I know them. Yeah, I like them. Yeah.
Incredible band.
Yeah, really good.
Love that band. He laughed at me when I told him how much I love Jesuit. It's great.
There's Cave In. I'm sorry. There's Converge, and then there's Botch, and then there's Cave In, and then there's like everybody else. That's always the way I felt about it. Like Dillinger is in there too.
I liked Botch. I saw him play here, and they're insane. Dillinger, I like those first 2 records. I saw them when they did those first 2 records. They were great. Coalesce, of that kind of stuff. Coalesce is the band for me.
There were
that split with Death.
Who was the one that had the album called Samsara? Was that Coalesce? Or was that?
That's Catharsis.
Catharsis, yeah.
I mean, that's like, that record's like probably my top 5 hardcore records of all time. But like,
they were there. We're there. I knew we would be there.
I don't think Catharsis in the like with the, because that's like the chaotic whatever, like spastic whatever. But
if it sounds good, it is good.
Love Catharsis. Love it.
Well, this was great. Thank you for discussing obscure metalcore bands with me. I appreciate this.
Oh, that's not even that obscure. Come on.
I know. It's not if you know. Yeah.
And we look forward to new stuff coming as well as the current stuff.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll get to see you one day in Baltimore.
That'd be great.
We'll be there. Yeah, we'll play somewhere.
We'll suddenly be standing at the bar with you. That's usually how it goes. We're like, remember us? The happy couple.
That's usually how it happens.
I'll remember. Where'd that dog go? Who's that? You didn't introduce the dog.
Oh, Jax. He's always our third.
He's a Yorkie. Yeah,
he's asleep now. He's usually during the podcast, like he'll jump up and down like 3 times. I'm like,
yeah.
We thought we were gonna have a problem because the cat came down here and they do not get along. But
it's weird. He gets along with the girl cats, but not the boy cats. So
who knows? We've got 2 pit bulls at home, and my girlfriend teaches piano at the house, and some of her lessons are remote lessons, so it's on like Zoom or whatever, and she can't. The dogs they just go nuts when she starts playing piano. So
wow,
they gotta go.
The pit bulls, to me, they always look like they've been working out all day.
Yeah, not ours. Not ours.
Oh, not yours. Okay. You have the non-working out pit bulls. Okay.
Spoiled. Two spoiled dogs.
Thank you for doing this and for being so responsive and so timely and punctual.
Let me know what contact lens prescription you need.
Yeah. Send us an email. Come at us in the DM.
-7.
Easy. You want dailies or monthlies?
I do monthlies.
Okay. Easy.
Oh, I'm gonna email you. Don't be joking around. I'm gonna email you my stuff.
I won't.
I'll send you the box.
Closet of free contact lens samples.
But we want to be on the thanks list for the next Thou record, though.
Not a problem. Easy.
Thanks to Stacey for stealing from work from me.
Easy. Y'all the dentist friend too, because I got some dental problems.
Okay, Sounds of Decay 1 is Melissa. The album it's an EP called 2. Who doesn't crave filthy blackened punk from Brooklyn? The four-piece known as Melissa have been creating a delightful racket for 2 years now, and with their second, simply entitled 2, vocalist Jane Payne and her band of heretic transgressors look to show that they can profane your drums like nobody's business. 2 does not waste time, with 4 songs clocking in under 15 minutes, but it does deliver sonic punishment in the form of reverb-drenched vocal gasps, percussive thumps from drummer Gruesome Maxwell, and plenty of tremolo-picked swells courtesy of guitarist Uranus. All this is packed in a cover that would make El Duce chuckle with amusement. These kids are most definitely onto something.
I love that name, Gruesome Maxwell.
Mm-hmm.
From the very first strangulated guitar chords of Opener Laura, it is obvious this band has mastered their mayhem, beloved their Beharit, and ignored their parole officer. Guitars are scuzzy as hell, pain vomiting forth the devil's beautiful gospel from the bottom of an elevator shaft, while drums and guitars shift tempos under layers of tar-like scuzz. Pantarixata, a Portuguese word describing the dead existing among us according to the Google machine, moves slowly via coffin lid thumps and unintelligible screaming against interestedly blasphemous arpeggios strangling each other for dominance. It really is a glorious racket and marks yet another strong, female-fronted black metal entry into the annals of 2023. Perfect music for clearing out unwanted relatives this Thanksgiving.
Get on it, turkeys.
See what he did there?
Thanksgiving jokes, people, deal with it. This song is called Laura. Okay, Sounds of Decay 2, it's here, the new Suffocation, Hymns from the Apocrypha. Question: do death metal fans tolerate new vocalists more than other genres? Pestilence fans stayed on board. True Pestilence fans stayed on board when Martin Van Drunen moved to Asphyx. And there's always that guy yammering on about how Testimony of the Ancients and Spheres is their best stuff. Brazil's Rebellion, check this out, just released an album with their third bass-playing singer, who sadly passed away last year, so they got to look for number 4. Not to mention that we've all pretty much accepted Corpse Grinder's stint in Cannibal, 27 years, people. He is the band's true face. So it should come as no surprise that Suffocation fans seem to be basking in the heaviness of their latest record, their first with new vocalist Ricky Myers. The band's signature hard-blasting, ear-shredding, low-woofing sounds are as potent as ever. If anything, they sound energized a bit compared with Frank Mullen's last record, 2017's Of the Dark Light, which, personally, I have to say, I don't understand the backlash against Of the Dark Light. I thought it was great. I read so many negative reviews that could not explain what was wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a great record.
It's another case of the old vets showing us how it's done. The breakdowns on this album are vicious, like the slow tempo shifts in Seraphim Enslavement. Myers woofing, there is a way for you to be free, ending this pain and misery. Just slit your throat and bleed out for me. Sunshine and Rainbows, right? This is soon followed by one of Terrence's best solos on the record, and that is saying a lot, because his leads are so much more lyrical on this go-round. Of course, percussively, the performance of semi-newcomer Eric Moratti is overwhelming, kicking off most tracks with dizzying rolls and fills. The thrashier segments at the tail end of Embrace the Suffering are a definite album highlight. Like, we need more proof that Suffo is a hard-churning mosh machine. Delusions of Mortality may be the album's high point. It all comes down to riffs, and this one is 3.5 minutes of the best prime USDA headbanging delight, and the solo from Hobbs is otherworldly.
Yeah. All right. 35 years, spanning 8 records, and no gray hair on Suffocation whatsoever. The tour with Incantation, like we mentioned, is raging all across the country this fall. Do not miss it. Let's introduce the song.
This song is Seraphim Enslavement.
Okay, Sounds of Decay 3.
This is Fornkost, May the Night Fall. Once again, we travel to Sweden. The band is Fartkonst, which consists of multi-instrumentalist Rickard Tornquist, who records everything on the albums, but it looks like there is his live band, which includes 2 guitars, a bassist, and drummer. This is Funk's third record since Tornquist established the moniker back in 2012. This is prime blackened death metal, a sound that sort of swirls the best of the Sunlight Studio buzzsaw death metal sounds of Grave and Entombed with blackened Swedish goodies like Dissection and Sacramentum. Guttural grunts, warm bass tones, riffs for miles, and plenty of specter-chasing homage to the Dark Lord. It's obvious that Mr. Ricard has done his time studying the best from his native land, evidenced by how quickly these 10 songs flash by, demanding multiple listens.
We'll start with May the Night Fall. An icy, dissonant guitar is soon wrapped in a warm, groovy bass line to marvelous effect, unhurried and full of hooks. Tension builds swimmingly, double bass is smartly engaged, and so the song yo-yos between heavy and the groovy over the course of 5 minutes. Filth Worship is another saber-toothed riff monster, very much in the vein of early Entombed. Guitar-wise, he shows a knack for adding just the right tritony fill at just the right time. Finally, there's Haunt Me, kicking off with piano reminiscent of those early possession-obsessed Marduk albums, then unveiling a hard-charging riff that just bounds from the walls, eventually shifting to a crushing slow tempo and back again. This may be the strongest cut on the album, offering everything we love about Sweden with the exception of maybe IKEA furniture.
Which we don't want to talk about right now.
We just bought some. Yeah. So let's play a song. This is May the Nightfall. That was a good one. Here's computer.
Not.
We talked about the real Ethel's tarot card reading, except no substitutions.
We talked about being all shot up in Baltimore.
That's right. That's right. And our puppets read a lot about Swedish death metal. Yeah.
We may have even had a guest puppet. We don't know.
So it all comes down to t-shirts. Isn't that just fun?
We got to talk about our live show experience.
Yes, we did. Highly recommended.
And we got to talk about Thou and their continuing prolific outpouring, and we can't wait for their new stuff.
That's right. Very cool. This has been the Snaggletooth Decay Extreme Music Podcast. Special thanks to Bryan from Thou for appearing on the show. Snaggletooth theme, courtesy of Gustav Jord of Defleshed. Sounds of Decay theme by Steve Rathbone of Lair of the Minotaur. Season 3 artwork by K.C. Angel. Sounds of Decay bands, check them out. Svartkonst, Suffocation, Melissa. All content 2023, the Snaggletooth Decay Extreme Music Podcast.
I forgot for my shot rant. Don't forget to take the shot.
Oh.
This is the Snaggletooth Extreme Metal Podcast.